Yeah.
Chris,
Chris was there.
this was the frame I would have picked. That's
Mhm.
the photo op.
Yeah.
I that scene is so funny.
Mhm.
Like the hey, can we get a picture? And
Mhm.
he's just like, yeah, totally. You can definitely get a picture. Scary armed men. Like, also, this director loves signs that have way too much writing on
Like
it.
this. It's like,
Yes,
Yeah.
because there's one in the other movie too,
uh,
and it's just like,
no, it was
okay,
on the screen
man.
for like 3 seconds. You couldn't even read it, but it's
Even the scrawled notes that were stabbed into a dead body had like
Were like,
15
well, I'll bet
lines.
you if
well,
you were
they
if
were
you saw
all
this as a
sort of,
Mexican in Mexico, you'd read it instantly.
The subtitles on this are just like bang, bang, bang,
Yeah, I
bang,
know.
bang, because there's so much stuff on there, and I couldn't even read all the subtitles. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I liked this movie a lot more than the other one. To be
I liked it
honest.
less, but I think
Yeah.
I think it's like this tonal thing. This might be of me to me little. They cranked up the cartoon
satire, maybe.
just too much.
Yeah.
I think they dialed it back. Maybe I don't know. I mean, it's definitely again like everything's fucked up.
I mean, it feels like I didn't know they were actually literally part of a trilogy or a quadrilogy or whatever.
Trilogy, apparently.
But I mean, it's clearly by the same director. It looks the same. The lighting, the kind of, it's like, it's kind of like a Jim Carrey movie or something. It's just a sort of flat lighting. You make sure there's enough light on everybody. Yeah. It's a comedy lighting.
Show, the
I don't know.
is...
I one of the things I really like about it is how anything they do on camera looks like this, and it's a little hyper realistic.
Yeah.
And it's a little telenovela.
Yeah.
And I think that's them saying like this is fake. Like this our view of this world is not real.
It's staged.
Yes. And
I love
like,
that the telenovela they use in this thing is called, that was it, The Poor Also Laugh, I think it's
love.
The Poor Also Love.
the poor also love,
which is a parody of a real one, is The Rich Also Cry.
The Rich Also Cry. I know. They're both such Mexican titles.
That's good stuff.
Even Wag the Dog.
This is Wag. Thank you, Chris. This is Wag the Dog.
Wag the Dog had a couple of characters that were not completely fucking irredeemable. I don't know that.
Not this movie.
No.
There is no one, literally no one in this movie that is redeemable.
Okay, I have a question because, and I'm
maybe the actress.
I'm only asking this because I've only gotten halfway through the damn movie.
Oh,
it's okay. It's a lot of movie. It took me 3 days to get through
fucking. They're both very long. Did the media hire the kidnappers who kidnapped the twins?
No.
No, it was total coincidence.
It was
Chris disagrees. Wait,
no, did we see the same movie?
They did not. What they do is one of the guys releases the kidnapped girls, and then they're like, but we don't have our climax. So they stage this climax of the cops going and raiding,
rescuing the twins.
Yeah.
And wait. Okay. The scene at the end where
it's just okay.
That's the guy in the fucking hut with the two kidnappers at the beginning of the movie. He's just wearing his general outfit at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but that's very common in Mexico for the military to be involved in stuff like that.
But I watched that scene going, oh, they paid the general to subcontract the kidnappers to take those two little kids.
I don't happened right after they said, well, we need a diversion to
I don't think
off of this scandal, and then the next thing you know, these kids get kidnapped. I assume that was engineered by the
now. So it's I will say I think it's possible that the governor paid for it. You asked if the media paid for it. I don't think the media paid for it. If somebody was doing this, it was the governor and his people.
The governor
because the handlers, the media people said you need
a crisis.
Okay. Yeah, the governors and his narcos set this thing up, and they actually are feeding the stuff to the press.
The governor rolls in. Whose office is he? Whose office is he? He's in the office of the Fuck, I'm already blanking.
The producer?
Yeah. Right?
Well, the general comes to the producer at some point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that, to me, that's the media hired that guy to subcontract the kidnapping.
Well, if that's what happened, I don't think they told that story effectively enough.
That's what I read watching it.
I think if it was, I think it was the media guys said you need this, and he was like, "Oh, okay, well, let's
That's
go
a hell
get
of a
her."
coincidence that the kidnapping rolls in just when they decide they need. Everybody's got to go off and like figure out a distraction, and boom.
Well, sure, but
Now hearing that.
Yeah.
but my argument is I don't think the media did it. I think the governor did it. That's different.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I just
like
think
I don't think it changes any of the corruption in the film at all.
No,
I think
there
it was
was
That's probably a minor
I-
point.
the thing I got out of it is this is a garden variety kidnapping, which are apparently not uncommon in Mexico, especially
Yeah.
and then they just simply took that and just basically just made that the story.
It was
Like
their
anything.
opportunity.
I'm reading it.
You
was
sort
it
of get the feel of that because the guy who's in charge of the kidnapping, not the two guys who get shot, but the guy who leaves,
General
whatever that guy's name.
guy that shows up later in the general outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like is like, oh, we need to up the ante because he's watching the coverage of it on the TV.
Yeah.
Oh, just a thought. It was a lot of crazy shit happens, and it is going a lot of different
A lot of
directions.
plot.
Yeah, there's a lot of plot.
The most plot.
The
Yeah.
most plot.
Most.
I
Mas plato.
Mm.
so the thing I would
This
say
was a mini series, right?
Hmm?
This was a mini series, right? Not
I
a.
don't think so. It was I think it's theatrical theater.
no, it's
No.
no, this is a theatrical.
No, this
release.
is a theatrical flick.
This was like the again, it's like the 8th highest grossing movie in Mexican history.
Mhm.
I think it's really interesting because there is this whole thing. I think it's called the Televisa scandal, and it is basically this. It's the biggest or at the time the biggest Mexican internal broadcaster who does deals with like Univision and Telemundo and stuff like that. Has all of these weird scandals about like supporting one politician over another politician and like maybe running crisis PR for people, and they lied literally. Like there's this whole story about there was an earthquake in Mexico City and they lied about this girl being trapped in a school, and then the other major network in Mexico played that Simpsons episode where Bart fakes Timmy O'Toole down in the
Oh,
hole
yeah, I remember
to
that.
make fun of them for that like it's it's fucking wild. And they've been doing it like this movie came out in 2014. Several of these scandals took place after that.
And also, this is
Like-
based on a scandal that happened 2 years before.
Right.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. It's involving PRI and the national. I think it was Telemundo. I'm not sure exactly which.
No, I think it's called Televisa.
Televisa, then
Yeah.
Mexican, like the main thing. They were just very tight. They're just like
Yeah.
they were like a fascist government. It's all meshed together, and that's
Well,
what
I
showing
mean,
in this.
again, the PRI was in charge for so long, and
Mhm.
there's so much cross pollination, much like there is in American media.
Mhm.
There's so much cross pollination between the political class and the media class when you're talking about television stuff. you
Especially
know?
now when every GOP idiot that gets out of work goes to work on Fox News as a
And
comment.
every Democratic idiot who gets out of work goes and works on fucking MSNBC.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like we have the same thing here, but except there's two different sides. That's the
right.
thing. But
Facets, maybe.
yeah, I agree with Chris. It was not as compelling as the other film in terms of like just being in your face and being a direct sort of storytelling thing. But it was interesting, especially when things got a little involved in terms of how the government was working with
There's
television.
no one
television
to
with the
root
government.
for in this movie.
Yeah, again, they're irredeemable characters. Although the thing is, in the other one,
You think maybe it's going to be the parents of the kidnapped girl, but then that's by the end of the movie that's questionable.
yeah, exactly.
This guy's kind of okay.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, he's just a self-centered, egotistical dickweed.
He starts out as an actual like a journalist. He's trying to figure out the truth.
It's like, I'm bored. I need to have sex with something. I guess I'll just. Well, I'm going to go harass the maid right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're kind of blocking his face. Is he the guy who wanted to be the vice president of the media?
no.
No,
He's the
one who
he's the
replaces-
reporter.
That's this guy. This is
He's
Right.
the reporter.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
he-
yeah.
he ends up
very bad.
taking over. He ends up taking over 24 hours and 30 minutes because they kick the other guy out at the end.
Right, because
Like
he laughed.
he's the new
Yeah,
guy.
he's new. He's a new Harry Reasoner. or
I am
whatever.
interested in seeing the rest of this thing. Has he got scruples then?
No,
No.
In fact, less. That's why I'm
good.
saying he's almost redeemable.
Uh,
Like he's still at the end is like, oh, you're gonna make me the anchor? I'm in. Like,
I
you
mean,
know,
this shit is hard for me to take. I mean, well, you understand, you guys understand, we're of the generation of Woodward and Bernstein, and
Right.
it's like the most trusted people are journalists.
yeah,
That's
but
what's
Bob
our
Woodward's a
generation.
huge piece of shit.
Mhm.
Like,
And
Now, hold on. That's not tallying them individually. This would be like very much like Fox in back in the days of Trump when it was like they were in bed
They're
together, and they were
really
like
carrying
they were
water.
telling the same story all the
Yeah.
time. They were like Fox would go to the Republican Party, then go back to Fox again. It was circular. That's what we saw here in this country. This is the same thing, except there's only one party.
Right.
John,
So-
There isn't
you
even
make it-
another party to say, hey,
yeah,
John,
exactly.
did you make it to the scene where they gin up molestation allegations against the
Opposition guy?
Messiah?
Yeah.
I'm virtually at the halfway point. So no, that hasn't happened yet.
Oh man, that's when it's just like this is so fucked.
Yeah,
Like
it is.
like these people are so evil.
Mhm.
Like
I just got to the scene where he told the
reveal, right? And
what's that?
They bring him onto the show, the other guy for 24 hours.
after he's been shot,
Yeah.
he's walking with a fucking cane.
Born
Yeah,
with a
right.
cane.
Like
That was the last shot I saw as he went to the guy's, the reporter, the vice president guy's hotel room, and then he tells him the bombshell stuff that he had people murdered and all the rest. And he just walks off down the hall limping, carrying the cane.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, nothing good's gonna happen to that guy.
no,
So
And
he
it
goes on
doesn't.
they bring him on the news to like tell his side of the story and then bushwhack him with sexual
With a
abuse
pedophilia.
allegation against his maid's daughter. And then that night he goes back to his hotel, has to run the gauntlet of all the press with his cane, gets told the manager's kicking him out of the hotel. He goes upstairs to record a video to like put out his statement, and somebody just walks up and fucking smokes him. And then they fake a suicide, and that's it. And he steals the laptop.
Which is
Like-
that weird, almost like conversation level, like a conspiracy theory thing, like
or the
swag the dog with actually big
parallax view.
very about parallax view. Yes,
Parallax view, yeah.
This actually reminded me.
Parallax view, only a comedy.
Well, no, it's like Veep, except that I mean, it's so dark.
except
This
this
actually-
dark Veep.
Reminded me a lot of
I'm sure that the guy that made
Veep
this
with more murder.
the guy that made this movie is trying to tell us, I'm like, look at how fucked up all this is. And I mean, I get it. And again, I mean, I went and looked at some of the, read the reviews of by Mexicans in Mexico about these two movies. And I mean, like almost to a single one, they're all like, this is what it's really like.
Right.
These movies needed to be made. These stories need to be told. Thank God somebody finally did it. This is all really fucked up. Thank God somebody's finally putting this out there into the world. And I appreciate that watching this from a, living in America, like I got to give like there's a level of this wasn't made for us.
Yeah, they're like the last one. Yes,
I can
And
interpret
it may be beside the point for me to say, oh, it's not subtle, it's not clever, there aren't twists, there's not layers of meaning. It's like it doesn't fucking matter if it's never been said.
Well,
I don't know.
also,
This
you gotta
is this
judge
is
by the
more
standard
Death of
Mexican
Stalin
movie.
to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like Train to Busan for me in terms of like you're not going to get all the references, but man, you're not just hold on because a lot of shit's going to happen. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. There have been a number of Mexican filmmakers that have made it really big in America, and we know who they are. There's like the big, Del
Inarritu and
Naruto, but they're basically making American movies, making American movies.
Inarritu's best movie is the one he made in Mexico.
Was that
Morris
Morris
Peros?
Peros.
That's a good one, but I really like flipping the Revenant in any event. But this is a Mexican movie made in Mexico. Sorry, Mexicans, for Mexicans.
right.
Those other movies were made by Mexican directors for global world.
This is an interesting one too, because the other movie was written probably in 2008, 2009, filmed in 2009, 2010. And that period, 2008 to 2010, is the highest increase in crime in Mexican history. Like
Right.
you're talking about 30 to 55% year-over-year increases in murder rates.
Yeah.
Like they end up at like 26 per 100,000 in 2010. Like that's an insane amount of murders. Like that's South Africa level murders.
Right.
And what happens after that is there's a big drop off. There's a huge drop off right after that. And then in 2014, when this movie's coming out, what you have is you have this sort of like, we're starting to see this civil society that they have has been influenced by all of the money that was made in that time period. And that's really what this movie is about. It's about how all of this money sort of trickled up to the politicians and the bureaucrats and the people in the media and stuff like that. And so again, talking about it as a Mexican movie made for Mexicans, like that's something that people would understand just intrinsically there.
Right.
You know, like it's very much a of its time piece, because then there's been another increase in violent crime in Mexico that's then had another little dip, but we've had this sort of like up and down thing that's happened over the last 2 decades, and this is sort of at a trough in it. And it's like, okay, we're not going to focus really on the violence of this system. We're going to focus on the corruption of this
Well, this
system.
is during the beginning of the collapse of the PRI, so it's like this
Right.
kind of chronicles it. That's the
Right.
thing. So,
Right.
all right. Well, I mean, anything else?
Well,
Jim, take that corner, man.
yeah. I just like to talk about. It's interesting how Mexicans seem to, at least the ones I've spoken with, seem to react to the rampant corruption and these sorts of problems. And it's a more fatalistic version than I think I would run into in the States, where people here just get mad as hell, to quote Network, about these things. But they're just like, yeah, okay, so the cartel killed my husband, and he killed my dog too. They killed my dog. But it's like, what are
you gonna do?
Happens,
I don't know. That's how we react to the fucking Supreme Court. Like Clarence Thomas is hanging out with Harlan Crow in his fucking Nazi garden, and everyone just kind of went, well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, the left wing press screams their head off, and everyone's like, well, that's the way it is. Can't do anything about it, right?
Right. I guess I hang out with more touchy people.
Maybe.
Anyway,
did you like these movies, Jim?
I liked them. I liked both of them. Yeah.
I need to say this because it was bothering me the entire time. I never need to hear La Gaza Ladra in a fucking movie again, ever.
He swiped the entire soundtrack from The Clockwork Orange, which I watched this week. It's
yes.
There's like 3 or 4 musical cues taken right from that movie.
I literally never. Rossini should be excised from movie soundtracks. Like I have heard every piece of music in this 1 billion times, and I don't need to hear it anymore.
I think they spent all their money on things other than music.
Renting these locations. I mean, come on, that's not cheap.
Yeah.
The location for the TV stuff is a huge modern art museum.
Oh, makes sense.
That's why there's all those weird like paintings on the wall and stuff like that. It's because it's a modern art.
Pretty avant-garde looking.
Yeah.
I like that.
So which of these had you seen before you recommended it or you picked them?
Neither.
Neither one? Oh, okay.
I was going off my friend.
No, usually that's a warning sign, but it worked out pretty well for you, I think.
I didn't differ, but okay.
I'd love to know if that guy has other picks, because I mean, I
do have some more. Yeah, the Macario one.
If you want some classic Mexican, I can recommend a couple that will just tear your fucking heart out if you want.
What's the one about
back in the golden age of Mexican, the Churubusco Mexican cinema, the photography was fantastic, the acting was amazing, and they really knew how to like tell a short, heartbreaking story.
What was the term you said?
Buñuel
Busco?
was making movies.
Churubusco.
Studios.
Churubusco Studios. They dominated Mexican cinema back in the golden age in the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
What's the one about the guy who has his whole family trapped in his house and it's all set in the like courtyard?
Oh no, that's not the Exterminating Angel, is it?
Oh, might be.
Yeah, that's Buñuel. Yeah, but I'd
Yeah,
love to
and
pick that.
I think it is.
I would
Buñuel,
love to
yeah.
pick that.
And
Anyway,
it was shot in the area in Mexico City that I was staying at.
oh, that's fun. All right, well, I guess we should let's do thumbs and let's move on. What do you think?
I would give this one. The other one's 2 thumbs. This one's a single.
This is same here. I'm with Chris. 1 thumb. It was intriguing, but it was like it wasn't pointed to me. You know what I mean?